Welcome to Rock Deuce 28 and the festival special edition. And we were at Sweden Rock last week, and we, as usual, we have a sponsor, and this time it's SABATON Open Air. SABATON has their own festival down in Falun, and it will be between 18th and 20th of August. And other bands that playing on the festival will be DAD, Saxon, Lordi, Dragon Force, Treat and Therion. And of course, SABATON will headline their own festival at the end.
So for the first time, we're here at Sweden Rock doing Rock Deuce together. This is a bit, I wouldn't say nostalgic because it's the first time, but
it's a new role for you to be like a media.
It's totally different. Hanging out backstage. Normally, I'm the record label guy and drinking beers or Jack and Coke with the musicians, but here's the other way around. Still good though. I mean, it's hot and the people are nice, enjoying themselves, having a good time, laughs. So yeah, and this year is actually a 25 edition of Sweden Rock, so it's kind of like a celebration.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can't really say that I just saw that many things that could.
That blew your mind, pretty much, right?
Yeah. We saw fireworks at Twisted Sister.
Yeah, that was cool. Twisted Sister was basically called it quits, and I think this is like the last gig in Sweden, at least for a festival appearance.
As they said, yes.
And the show was great. Dee Snider gave it all. So fun to actually see them live. They've been going on for plus 40 years or so.
Yeah, did you see the documentary about Twisted Sister?
Twisted fucking Sister, what's it called, on Netflix? Yeah. Apparently that documentary was not their idea, according to the press conference. And it's been going on for in the making 10 years, and it just came out from nowhere on Netflix. The band, of course the band was involved, but it wasn't their idea. It actually was a guy, forgot his name, the director, who came up the whole idea regarding 10 years ago. A plot to doing the documentary, and anyway, it was fun. But according to the band, they said there's not going to be a follow-up on the documentary because it kind of...
It took them 10 years to make it.
Yeah. So doing a follow-up another 10 years, who knows if the band will survive or whatever. But it felt like there was one side of the story of Twisted Sister and not really about the future, but still a good documentary. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, please do. But we came down to Sweden Rock on the first day, Wednesday.
Yeah.
That normally be the warming up party day.
There's a couple of gigs, not really big ones, but I think Gamma Ray headlined there the first.
Blind Guardian.
Oh, it was Blind Guardian. Oh, there you go. Some kind of Guardian or whatever.
Yeah.
Gamma Ray, Blind Guardian. I always say this. Well, I mix it up. Sorry.
But I have to just tell you, the listeners, that during this day of Sweden Rock, we did do 4 interviews with 4 bands.
The first one is that we're going to listen here in a couple minutes is a band from Canada, actually.
Called Monster Truck.
Yeah, a rock and roll band for Canada. Normally, band-wise from Canada, it's not that many. It's Annihilator, Anvil, and
Danko Jones,
Voivod as well,
and of course Bryan Adams.
So this is like actually the first time I ever heard of rock and roll Canadian band, which is quite big. If you look at their touring history, I think they're going on Nickelback tour now, and apparently Twisted Sister loves them.
Yeah.
According to the press conference, they said you should definitely check out Monster Truck.
Yeah, I think they did a supporting tour to Alice in Chains for a couple of years ago.
That as well, and judging by the live appearance on Sweden Rock, you get what you get pretty much when you go to a rock and roll show, and with the Canadian band, to say the least. So yeah, it was fun.
Okay, we go to the interview with Jeremy Widerman.
A lot of early Grand Funk Railroad for me, Mark Farner. Obviously, I was influenced by a lot of AC/DC, but kind of later on in life. I didn't listen to a lot of it when I was younger. I got into a lot of that stuff when I was in my late 20s. So, but like I was saying, that a lot of it I kind of don't think about very much anymore. And I've been pounded over the head so much with so many different bands and everything that it's more so kind of thinking about our band in a kind of more specific way, and like what direction we want to go with the music now that we've got this kind of sound that we created 7 years ago, and just kind of morphing that into something new and different. And I don't know where the influences come from anymore.
From everywhere, more or less.
Yeah, it's literally every single thing I've ever listened to for 35 years, and it's really hard to pinpoint. So now I just kind of think about it more in how we want to take the direction of the band, as opposed to, when you start a band and you're like, well, we want it to sound like late Grand Funk Railroad or early Black Sabbath or whatever. I've stopped thinking in that way, and just thinking about which, how we want to take our own music and twist it.
But when you are in this kind of environment like a festival, you have the time to go to see.
I did yesterday. It was very rare that we show up at a festival a day early and get to check out some of the bands. The only band I really wanted to see was Graveyard, and I got to see them, and they were great. I wanted to see Queen, but I got a fight with my girlfriend right before they went on, so I missed most of it, and I was really bummed out about that.
Yeah, you were the first. Will be participate the first time at your show today. What will we expect of that? What kind of?
I'm expecting it to be a lot of fun. Every time we play shows over in Europe, the crowds are always so enthusiastic and excited. It makes for a lot of fun for us to be able to come out here and see the difference. We just finished a 6-week tour in America to mixed responses, where sometimes we're going on, they'll put you on at 11 in the morning and play for 25 minutes. And it's just kind of weird. You're half asleep and the people aren't really interested, and you're off the stage as soon as you do like 5 songs and you're finished. So I love coming here at 4 o'clock, do an hour-long set, and people love rock and roll music. I'm really looking forward to today.
Yeah, it's a good start for the evening show.
Oh, it's amazing. People are a little drunk, not too drunk. We'll see how it goes.
Well, the name Monsterwerk, I mean, all of you guys, you got driver's license starting one of those bigger ones?
No.
What's the story behind that?
No good story, really.
Drunk night. Yeah, fuck it, let's take 2 words, put them together.
No, it was... I felt like it reflected the music that we wanted to make. And I feel like I love when you hear a band name and you get a mental picture of what it is you think you're about to hear, and then it is actually that thing. Because so often in life, whether it's going on vacation and someone telling you where you're going, you start to think about what it's going to look like, or you're going to a restaurant and you think of what the food is going to be, it almost never is what you imagine it to be. And it's not disappointing or like it's not a bad thing or a good thing, but I think it's always comforting when people make that mental image and it's actually what they pictured. And I think that happens a lot with our group, where they hear the band name Monster Truck and they think, well, that sounds like a bunch of shit kicker rock and rollers, it's American. I mean, we sound like an American band. And then we go on stage and give them exactly that thing. I think that's comforting. Some people maybe want a more prog, off the cuff, weird experience, which is fine, but that's not, we're meat and potatoes rock and roll music. And so what would you name a meat and potatoes rock and roll music? And to me, you'd call them Monster Truck. And I started this band only because I found the right people and had the right ideas for songs, and what they did too. But we had to make a decision on whether or not we were going to keep it for a fun, once a week, 1 show a month thing, or whether we were going to take all these opportunities that were being offered to us to be on tour and sign a record deal and take it seriously. And we actually had to sit down and be like, are we going to actually do this? Because we talked about specifically not doing that, because there's all the baggage that comes along with having to take a band from a garage and a bar in your hometown to across the world, which, we kind of just decided to go for it one last time, and it's obviously worked out awesomely because we're here today.
Dude, it's impressive. I mean, you're playing at one of the Sweden's biggest festival, first appearance as well, and given you're coming from Canada, it's not that many bands has gone that route.
No, and it's nice for us to be ambassadors of our country and our hometown, and it's our job to represent it well. And I know there's a lot of people back home that are proud of the progress that we've made and love seeing us over here waving the Canadian flag, and we're really proud to do that for them.
At least you didn't put out a DVD documentary like Anvil did and coming back.
Yeah, I just really want to put out a live DVD in general.
That's even better.
Yeah, but it's really hard to get the logistics of that down. We've got a lot of other things on our plate, like supporting this album and the tour with Nickelback, and I think we're already thinking about doing another record as soon as possible. So we'll see if we can fit it in, but it's definitely on the top of my priority list on something I would like to do.
With some fun backstage material as well?
I don't know.
I
think it would be nice to find somebody who's going to film it and see what their vision is, because I think that they would have. I always love hearing other people's ideas. That's another great thing about the group that I found over the years with our band, is that we're such a specific, obvious thing that other people can come in from the outside and have great ideas, which is amazing, because anytime you're short on ideas and you have someone else come in and it has great ideas. Oh, here, why don't you do this as a t-shirt design? Why don't we take a photograph over here? What if we shoot a music video like this? Those are all problems I've had in other groups where it's so hard to think of ideas all the time because you don't know what you are, you don't have an identity. Because our identity is so obvious, it's just created endless possibilities for all the creative outlets that you have to do outside of playing music with the band, and it makes it easy for us to achieve those goals, because there's so many people that are willing to help and have great ideas to help with our band.
Yeah, you have to work with the brand.
Yes.
That's
well, it's nice to be cooperative, and there's so many creative minds out there with so many great ideas. It would be a shame not to, listen to them all and be able to work with those people.
So branding wise.
Yeah. Sorry.
What would you think Monster Truck will be in terms of sponsorship deals? And we were talking about Gibson before, but
yeah, it's a no-brainer. Gibson and Marshall are rock and roll staples, but there's been lots of other opportunities that have presented themselves. Being that we're Canadian, we're huge fans of hockey, and we've been integrated in the professional hockey market in Canada with the NHL. And Hockey Night in Canada, the CBC. We've aligned ourselves a little bit with NASCAR in America and been involved in some of the stuff that they've done with Talladega.
That's
massive. And then there's been lots of syncs and stuff with video games and movies, and we've been popped into many different outlets like that, and that's always fun and exposes your band to lots of new people. It's never been hard for us to do that. And again, it just equates still back to the we are what you think we are mentality of we're a rock and roll band that looks like a rock and roll band, that sounds like a rock and roll band, that's named Monster Truck. And it makes it very easy when people have to come up with tough decisions and they're sitting there with a list of 20 bands and there's ones with really weird names and they're not sure what they are, and they just look at us and we just look like we sound like we look like we sound. And I think it makes it easy for them to make a snap decision on, well, we need a rock and roll band for this part. And it's like, well, look at these guys. Done. And so it's been unfortunate for us, and it made business for us, quite easy.
I mean, it's all about the music in there, right? Besides all of the rest, the brand names and pairs, it's all about good rock and roll music.
Exactly, and that's the final clinching blow, which is that if you like the T-shirt and you like the way we look and you like the band name and you like the style, and then you hear the songs, and that hopefully that takes you home. That's the thing that is, it's where it starts and where it ends, and everything in between can help and assist, and because there's lots of bands that have weird band names and don't have a strong identity, but they still are very successful because their songs are awesome.
Any ideas on which one? Just name a few.
What's funny? I'm reading the Scar Tissue biography with Anthony Kiedis. I think they're a great example of a band that I'm not a fan of them, but I'm a fan of their perseverance and their vision and how there's no one else that sounds like them in the world.
Peppers, yeah.
No, they literally created a genre of music to call their own and forged a path solely based on making their own way. And it almost to me is the complete opposite of what we've done, but is actually more impressive, obviously, because they're much bigger. They're one of the biggest bands ever, and they did it all on their own. And it's to me that's a completely different route to take, and is just I have so much respect for that. I'm trying to think of another band that's kind of like that.
Foo Fighters is one of the. I know in one interview, Diego said, "Fucking first try, and we choose this name, and if I can go back, we'll probably take something else.
Yeah, to me that's like...
Even though they like the bigger one as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun... I've heard that story too, and that's a fun story. But I think that's a weird way to look at it.
Sure.
Like, because things only happen one way, and you never know what ingredient removed would tear the whole thing down, you know? And I'm a huge believer in needing everything to you know, like there's lots of things I would change. There was lots of things that you would assume I would change about the way things have happened in my life and with the course of the way the music's turned out, but I wouldn't change anything. And I wouldn't change a band name. I wouldn't change a negative experience, or you've had a couple times on tour where things have gotten really rough, or, you know, personally in our personal lives, something horrible has happened and we've had to overcome it. And I wouldn't change any of it because you don't know which way things go. You take one little piece out of the puzzle and the whole thing collapses.
It grows on you. Pretty much.
What's that?
It grows on you pretty much.
Yes, and everything is important. I don't think they change their band name. I think they stick with it forever.
They have to.
Yeah.
You just talked about that they will support Nickelback.
Yeah.
Is it on US territory, or is it?
No, it's all in Europe and the UK. It's kind of the end of the tour that they originally started with a year ago, and then they had to cancel the European dates last year, which we were also booked on because of his voice. And so now they're just basically taking that tour from last year and just rearranging it a little bit and doing it again this year, and we're still on the tour. It actually worked out great for us because our record got delayed. So we were like, I wonder if we're gonna get this Nickelback tour. You know, we really wanted it. It's all stadiums and arenas across Europe, and we're like, it worked. It actually saved us because we were gonna have to do this tour last fall when we didn't have a new album out. So it was gonna be like we were going on tour not supporting the new record, and then our new record was gonna come out afterwards. So it was a little. So it worked out perfect. They delayed their tour. We delayed our record.
Meant to be.
And it's worked out that way for us a lot of times.
And you will be back in Sweden then.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's cool.
So how happy were you we got a Nickelback tour? I mean, that's like the biggest rock and roll band ever.
Yeah. People that don't like Nickelback thinking, why are you touring with them? Which is a really weird kind of position to take because we're really just trying to get in front of as many rock fans as possible, that's probably the best tour we could be on this year. I don't think too much about it. I'm always excited to tour and play shows, especially in large venues to a lot of people. And regardless of whether you like Nickelback or not, one of the things I'm always most concerned about with a larger band is that they satisfy their fan base, no matter who it is. And I think when you're charging whatever arena bands have to charge to do an arena show, usually 80, 100 or a lot, you know, if the fans leave feeling like they got their money's worth, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. They have a fan base that's loyal, that wants to be there, that's willing to pay big money to be there. The only way I would be mad or you know, distasteful to that band is if their fan base leaves feeling like they got ripped off. There's nothing worse to me than thinking like that. So it's a mentality I think about all bands in that mentality is, you know, if there's someone willing to listen to them and pay for them, then I don't think anyone has a right to talk down about them unless the fan base feels ripped off, and their fan base does not feel. I've seen that. We did some shows with them in Australia, and their fans are happy when they show up, they're happy when they leave, and the place is going crazy. So I have nothing negative to say, and it's impressive to watch their live show.
Yeah, but you're going to blow them off the stage.
Well, there's definitely people...
You need to put more, like 200%. It's going to happen. I mean,
well, I think that's something that I personally always try and do in any situation, whether... we had some shows in America a couple months ago that were to 30 people. I put the same show into that. I put the same effort into that show as I'll put into the show we play in 10,000 people. It's important to me that there's no difference. I don't want anyone to have ever, you know, seen us at one of those big shows and then seen us in a headline show where maybe a lot of people don't show up and be like, oh, well, he doesn't care tonight. He's not interested in, and it's like, I'm always interested. I'm always happy to play, and I'm always going to leave the stage sweaty and completely exhausted because to me, that's the only way to perform for your fans.
I mean, if you would headline today, who would you bring with you as a support?
Well, we just did a headline tour in Canada. We brought the Temperance Movement with us because they're not as big over in Canada, obviously. We have a kind of a cool relationship. They're much bigger over here than we are. We're bigger than them. Actually, but the tour that they just did with us helped them out a lot. They have a #1 single in Canada now. They were at #1 for like 11 weeks or something with their song Oh Lorraine. And yeah, that was the band. We didn't have our choice of anybody, but even though we didn't have our choice of everybody, we got exactly who we wanted, which was the Temperance Movement. The only other one I could think would be Graveyard, maybe Crowbot, Buffalo Summer. But for that particular tour, we thought they were the perfect fit, and it worked out excellent.
Okay, then we're back.
Back on track.
Back on track, and that was Jeremy Widerman from Monster Truck, a really nice guy, I must say. And the band is really hard-working, and they are determined to what they wanted to do with the band. Just talking about the name Monster Truck was, it was meant to be, to have that kind of title of the band.
Yeah, and I've never even seen a monster truck in the living or even driven a car, so that was an interesting band name, to say the least.
Yeah. Actually, that was the only international interview we did at Sweden Rock, so the 3 follow-up interviews will be only Swedish band, and it will be Soilwork, Amaranthe and SABATON, of course, the headline of the whole festival. The next interview will be together with Björn Strid from Soilwork, and you are kind of friends back, or are you just from the same city, Helsingborg?
We're basically from the same city, from Helsingborg, south of Sweden. I've known them since the early days of Soilwork, I think, pretty much. The band started 95.
Yeah, they have kind of 20 years of celebration this year.
Yeah, anniversary.
Anniversary.
96 they changed name to Soilwork. Forgot the name before, Inferior Breed or something like that. I think Björn is like the only member left from the original lineup or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah, I think so too.
The band is still going strong, and this interview was quite fun because we touched based not just his main band, but the Night Flight Orchestra, which is actually a rock and roll band from his childhood friends in Helsingborg. So it's a bit fun story regarding that band as well. Soilwork played Friday. The show was great.
Yeah, really late.
Really late, like
after Queen actually, and Queen was. For me, the only show the only full show I was watching during the whole festival, I think.
Queen, you mean? Or?
Yeah, Queen.
I saw a couple of songs at Soilwork.
Yeah, we did that
together.
Just
3 or 4 songs, and then we jumped up to Queen.
No, on the other side. We watched Queen, and just after Queen's show, we went over to the Sweden stage and looked at Björn and the guys in Soilwork.
I think I still had some memory loss on Friday, the day before. Gamma Ray, Blind Guardian, alcohol. No, but the Queen, going back to the Queen show, by the way, that was really, really good.
Yeah. Together with Adam Lambert.
People don't know about this, but the backing vocals is actually done by all of the band members. Yeah,
I didn't know that as well.
Thought that like
Freddie Mercury did all of the
pretty much, but apparently the drummer is actually a really talented singer.
Yeah.
And it was a bit weird show because
2 drummers.
I
think it was the son of the.
Yeah, the drummer's son was involved. The funny thing was the visuals on the screen was actually Freddie Mercury singing along.
It blended in really well.
Yeah, that was a bit cool to see everything live. Some didn't like it, obviously reason, because it's like feels some way like a cover band because they have a new singer.
Adam Lambert.
Which actually fits the role quite nice, but his vocal range is a bit different compared to
Freddie Mercury, right?
Yeah. Right. But we saw the whole show, and then we went off to Soilwork for a couple of songs. And
what do you think about the songs?
They're great. I mean, put out the new album a year ago, and it's kind of like going backwards to the old type of Soilwork, which I like. But the fans liked it, and it feels like the band members enjoyed it as well. Another funny story is that The drummer Dirk, the French guy, actually filled in for the Megadeth show on Sweden Rock as well.
Yeah, I think we will get into that in the interview.
Yeah.
When we started the interview with Björn, we just talked about this Sweden Rock gig, and we just listen to what he has to say about that. You're playing at the Sweden stage later tonight, and what's your expectations from that show?
I mean, expectation, hard to say. Hopefully there will be people there. I know we're playing at the same time as King Diamond.
Yeah.
I think it should be good. It's a good slot at right after midnight, and it's the first first full day on this festival.
Yeah.
If it was Saturday, it would have been disastrous.
Yeah.
But it's Thursday, so it should be really good, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty late. Mm-hmm. So.
Is this the first summer gig for you, festival-wise?
We did Metallsvenskan in Örebro.
Yeah.
Last weekend. How did that go?
It was good. A little shaky.
In what
to
way?
be honest.
You fell off the stage? Or what do you mean?
No. Just shaky. Since our original drummer Dirk, he's playing with the Megadeth right now. So we have a session drummer from Denmark, and so it was the first show with him, and we rehearsed 2 days before the show, and he did awesome. I just thought the rest of us kind of sucked, or maybe I sucked the most. I don't know.
What's the fill-in though? The guy's name?
Bastian Tuskard.
Okay. Has he been involved in other bands as well, or?
He's been playing in the Arcane Order.
Okay.
And some other Danish bands that I unfortunately can't remember right now. But he's a fantastic drummer, and he's been doing a great job. And we played in Copenhagen last night, club show, and it was really good.
How did you find them though? Through Dirk's apprentice or internship?
Yeah, it was actually, he's been Dirk's drum student actually. So that's sort of how Dirk kind of recommended him. To do those shows that we're doing in June. But tonight, Dirk will play with us, and he will play with Megadeth as well, so it's double duties.
So what happened to the Megadeth drummer originally? Did he get sick, or is just a stand-in for the time being?
Well, normally it's Chris Adler from Lamb of God, who's doing drums for Megadeth, and I guess he has some obligations this summer with Lamb of God, and so that's why Chris recommended Dirk. So that's how it happened.
We actually noticed that this year marks 20 years of Soilwork, once you change the name and everything from Inferior Breed. Mm. So how does that feel? 20 years, still going strong?
It's kind of hard to grasp. It really is. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to grasp, but all I can say is that I'm really proud of how we've managed to remain interesting somehow, and we've developed our sound. And at the same time, we've been staying true to our roots, and it's nothing we really discuss. We need to do this, we need to do that, or we need to do the old stuff mixed with the new stuff. It just really happens. And I'm not lying one bit.
So a small band from your hometown, Helsingborg, and nowadays it's like the brand is Soilwork-ish, kind of. If you're talking like an international band, because the members is kind of scattered all over, besides Sweden,
Yeah. There's definitely been lineup changes, and it all started in Helsingborg, Höganäs area, and
you're still living there. Right?
Yeah, I'm living in Landskrona. That's where I started my first bands, and that's where I went to junior high. So that's I started playing in black metal bands. I played in a reggae band. I played in a pop band. I played in
You kind of have like a sweet spot to the Italian scene as well, because you've been in a couple of bands from Italy as well.
Yes.
Sessions.
Yeah, I've been doing some session work for Disharmonia Mundi, for example. I've been all over the place really, but I think I've really developed as a singer through that as well.
So what's the attraction to Italy? You're ever thinking about moving over there as well? Given all the history and privately as well, perhaps. I won't say anything about that, but you'll decide. To all the listener, we can
I mean, possibly. I do love Italy, and I've always had a great time there. I've been living abroad for quite some time. I've been in Japan. I've been in Canada. I've been in the States, and now I'm back to Landskrona, where it all kind of started. So I kind of needed to reconnect somehow, and so I guess we'll see what happens from there.
Could you say that pretty much the reason why you ended up being Landskrona back is also because of a new band you just recently signed to your same label, Night Flight Orchestra?
No, not really, because we're the kind of band we get together and do jam sessions, and I mean we have a bass player who's in Arch Enemy, Charlie D'Angelo, and they have a very busy touring schedule as well, so it's always hard to find time to get together. So I don't think that it would have mattered, if I was living in China, New Zealand in the end, it's so it was just more, like a kind of private thing. I need to reconnect. I've been through a lot of things, I don't have to go too deep into it, but it felt like the right thing to do. That's where my parents grew up as well. So the apartment I have right now is right around the block from where my dad he grew up. So it feels good.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So regarding your side project, the Night Flight Orchestra, I mean, do you have time to combine everything in terms of? I know your heart lies at Soilwork, but you're always interested in this kind of music with the Night Flight. I mean, traditional heavy metal, the back old days, and now you're actually doing it even a bigger scale, because you're actually signed to the same label and everything. So touring-wise, once Arch Enemy is kind of on a low key.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be. I'm sure it's gonna be pretty rough at some point. I reckon our first album with Nuclear Blast with Night Flight Orchestra is going to come out sometime in the spring, and I'm sure we're going to try to do as much touring as possible. But then again, I think that's around when the touring cycle for the Ride Majestic with Soilwork is going to slow down a little bit. So hopefully there will be some time for Night Flight, and I guess we'll have to see, because we're not there yet. But it's definitely on my mind how the hell I'm going to be able to do both of those bands. But we'll make it work. It just needs to happen.
So it's is it the same heart to do the side project? Why is it the same importance to do the other bands like Soilwork?
I think it is, because I mean I don't really consider it a side project either. It's really a real band, and I guess that's what they all say. As soon as somebody is like, "It's not a side project; it's a real band." Blah, blah.
Shut up! Sorry.
No. But it's it is a real band, because it's really something magical happened with that band when we got together to rehearse and
pretty much have fun, right? I mean, it's not really. I know it's serious, but it's a kind of different serious. I mean, you're with your friends pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where Soilwork started too. You got together, but obviously we've been around for 20 years, and of course it turns into a job. But if it was just a job feeling over it, I would have quit a long time ago. And it isn't, it has become a job, but it's still, I don't really consider it a job. It doesn't feel like a job, but of course there's the business side. You need to survive. I've been living off Soilwork for 12 years. So I'm really grateful for that. But obviously you need to watch the business side of it as well, which sucks. That's why I didn't really sign up for that in the first place, but it kind of comes with it. It's kind of inevitable. So now I mean Night Flight is, we started jamming out in 2009, so it's been a few years, but it was really hard to get this band signed from the beginning, and now it seems like there's a lot of labels who are interested in.
Well, why is that though? Why everything now? I mean,
I don't know. It's it's kind of hard to say. I mean, we have great songs, and I that's always been my idea of creating music, like good songs, I think it starts right there. It doesn't matter if it's a 15-minute song or if it's a pop song, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It doesn't really matter. It's about writing good songs, and I think we really have some fantastic songs.
So you see the potential. You think you can maybe retire with this band instead of Soilwork? Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? It's I still really enjoy what I do with Soilwork. I might not listen as much as I used to, as far as extreme metal goes, but it has to do with that there's not that many bands that appeal to me anymore. But if there is something, I will promote the hell out of it, and I will listen, as much as I can. It's I enjoy it, but it's kind of hard to find.
You think it's an age thing? I mean, 20 years later, you're listening to all kinds of new stuff. I mean,
I don't know. It might be, or maybe it just had to do with that. It has become a job, and you're around this all the time. And I know it sounds boring and really predictable, but it's kind of hard to ignore. It's what you do. You tour all the time, and you're so used to metal that it's almost like what do you say?
You kind of get used to it, right? In some way.
Yeah, it's like de-dramatized, dismantled somehow. Like in a way, the thrill is gone, but that doesn't mean that I can't get thrill out of writing a great metal song, or I like to compose and I like to perform it. So it's. So
what do you think the next step will be for Soilwork if you want to kickstart it again? It's kind of like going back in some way. I noticed the last record was kind of going back to your roots.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's you can definitely hear our roots, but it's also a step forward. I feel that we found a different way of expressing ourselves musically, and we're definitely not slowing down, but has a very interesting dynamic, running through it, and it's pretty melancholic, but it's definitely no goth rock, or it kind of sounds like that as soon as you mention melancholy, and it kind of sounds like that, but it's very intense, but it has, especially melody wise, it has that kind of Scandinavian feel to it that we had it in the beginning, and I feel that it got lost somewhere in the mid 2000s, and I think that's something that we wanted to bring back without forcing it too much.
You still play the old songs though, live?
Yes,
especially from the Shane Out Machine era.
Yeah,
the trashy songs.
Yeah, and they sound good live, and I still enjoy playing those songs, and.
How's the voice though?
It's fine. I mean, the voice is totally fine. I'm lucky enough not having to warm up very much, and as long as I don't get sick, I'm fine. And I think the hardest part is it's really mentally. I feel to feel motivated every night, but I mean, once you're on stage, it usually works out. As long as you get the adrenaline and you see the crowd, you get it going.
Do you have any kind of a process writing new songs, or?
Not really, no. It just happens. People write songs, and I mean, we're so used to being spread out all over the world, so we send files back and forth. We get together, a couple of weeks before entering the studio to jam out the last parts and the transitions, but that's about it. But we're so used to it because, I mean, even with the original member Peter Witchers, he was in the band until 2005, and then jumped off the band, and then came back in 2009 or 10.
And was in the States as well, sending
files. Yeah, I mean,
back
he moved to the States already in 2004, so. After that, ever since then, we got used to sending files back and forth, and just
the modern way of working, pretty much.
It is working, and I feel that there's this.
So we just finish up. What happens after Sweden Rock? Is it a lot of festivals during the summer?
Yeah, there's a bunch of festivals, at least in June and August. August, we're going to go to the UK with Arch Enemy as well, and we have 3 weeks off in July, I think, and then September is going to be South America for the first time.
That's awesome.
Ever.
That's cool.
That's
quite
cool.
Yeah. Okay, now we're back to Rock Deuce 28, and our chit chat talking here in about Sweden Rock, and Ömer just told me that I should talk about a little bit how to be the press media in Sweden Rock, and there is one really big backstage area when all the artists and all the press people could be, but the press has their own talent.
No, but regarding the press tent and everything, there's actually 2 guards outside, which I've never seen before. I think this year or last year is a bit special because they've been having people buy into the backstage area, like VIP prices or whatever it's called. So you actually pay, I think it's 100 euros more, you get a hoodie, but you actually get access to the backstage area, which is basically where some of the musicians hang out, the media people, the labels and whatnot. But to get access to the media tent, where people are actually working, there's actually 2 point guards. You have to have special wristbands. We came in because we're working, obviously, interviewing bands. The only thing at the backstage is that you get Wi-Fi, you get free sodas, sponsorship sodas, and there's a couple of rooms private that you can interview your bands depending on schedule and stuff like that. Yeah. Also, the press conference is there as well.
Yeah, I should say so as well. But enough talked about the press tent and
we had an interview there actually with Amaranthe, right?
Yeah, we just arrived to the festival area and just get into the press tent, and then the label people just grabbed us and said, "You have to do the interview right now. Can you do it?"
It's a bit early. I think I just came in from the apartment or whatever and jumped in straight away to the interview. We were scheduled to half an hour later, but the band wanted to do it straight away because of the tight schedule. And the first...
Actually, it was the first time we recorded with this equipment as well, so it was a little bit nervous.
Brand new equipment, but it went cool. And we interviewed actually
Olof,
right?
the guitarist.
And to follow up with the last Rockers interview, 27th, which was with Elise.
Yeah.
And now it's with the guitar player. So that was fun. Talked a little bit about the recording.
About the new album.
Where they're at, and also the show. So yeah, enjoy this interview with Olof and Amaranthe.
How far in the process are you with the new album?
Right in the middle, exactly right in the middle. Yeah. Now we finished all the guitars, bass, drums. All the songs are actually written, and we're gonna do vocal recordings and mix by the end of this month, starting the 28th down in Denmark, running until the 4th of August. We're supposed to be done. So.
Your parts are already done, the guitars and everything?
Most of them, yes. So no, I still have the guitar solos to play, but all my rhythm guitars are done, yes.
Have you written those yet, or are you doing guitar solos on the spot?
Usually, no, I haven't written any of it really yet. It's usually like I improvise around, the song, try to find the essence of the melodies and the essence of the track in general, and then I just shred it.
Have we decided any singles yet? We got the album, we're still in progress regarding what to name the album, title, stuff like that?
Yes. I think we have actually decided a single, at least the first single, and it's been a track that has been around for like half a year, and everybody who's heard it so far has almost unanimously said that it's the most catchy Amaranthe track so far. So it seems like a pretty given single. Can't reveal anything more about it yet.
But I was hoping to something. They can reveal anything, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's okay. I'm gonna give a hint.
Good.
The title of the track, it might be related to a certain weapon that is primarily used in the country of Australia. And draw your conclusions. Don't say it out loud. Let the listeners draw their own conclusions. Okay. And let's see if anybody figures it out.
Yeah, good.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. But you have pretty much written the songs during the first part of the year, right?
Yeah. I mean, we basically started to do concepts in December, me, Elise, and Jake. and it was running. Actually, this time we did it a little bit differently because usually we sort of did it while on tour and when we were home and so on and so forth. But now we actually took some free time to sit down home and write the music, which was very interesting, very strange to all of a sudden find yourself at home for 4 months in a row without any shows at all. But I think it really shows on the material. It's very, very focused songwriting. I mean, we're not constantly interrupted by all these traveling and, doing all these lovely interviews and all these... No, kidding. No, but I think it really brought up on the end result. So we were extremely happy with the songwriting. Also, it resulted in us going into the studio with 16 songs this time, 16 ideas for songs, instead of 8 that we had on Massive Addictive. So I guess you could say that we were a lot better prepared this time around.
What are you going to do with the leftover songs then? Is going to scratch them, or the 16 ideas I mean?
No, Max Martin just said that he will pay $2 billion for them. So, yeah.
That's a good
so
one.
I'm pretty much set. So.
But you were talking that you have put in a lot of focus in this writing process and in the beginning of the recording. But you have like a pause right now and have a few shows in Norway.
Yeah, exactly. No, it went pretty much directly from finishing up all the songs, going directly into the studio, and then working for a month in the studio, as I was also working as a co-producer and overseeing bass recordings and drums and my own guitars, of course. And then the day after we left for the Silja Rock cruise, and then a few days after that we went on the Norwegian tour as well. So things are rolling on quite smoothly, but still quite intensely. So, but it's been really, really cool to start out this the touring season again, because obviously you're missing it a lot when you're sitting at home writing. So it's going to be very, very exciting to play at Sweden Rock tonight. I mean, just a thing like that.
This is the start for the festival season, right?
Yeah, certainly, exactly.
It was a pretty heavy show the last time you were in Sweden Rock, because it was a massive audience outside the stage. Yeah,
that was sort of a weird experience, because we were on the stage which is now called the Four Sound stage, and there was a lot more people that showed up than the area could handle, which was extremely nice, of course. So we just hope that now that we play on a bigger stage, that at least the equal amount of people will show up. So it's a different day, of course, since it's the first day of the festival. But but we've been massively looking forward to play here. It's really an honor, of course, to play here. It's a legendary festival, of course. So.
Work-wise, what's the big difference when you go into the festival season and only do festivals? Is it any difference between doing a normal tour thing than doing the festival gigs?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot more traveling involved, and the shows themselves become bigger, of course, with a bigger audience. But it also gives you the opportunity to win a lot of new fans as well. So you really have to be on your edge, so to speak. But of course, it's a really cool thing to be out playing the festivals, because everything just gets a lot bigger in every sense. So it's always something that you're looking forward to, because it's a pretty big contrast. So
besides this festival, what are you looking forward for? We're going to touring cycle. Any specific dates?
But mostly, I'm actually looking forward to return to Grass Pop and Masters of Rock in the Czech Republic. And we played both of these festivals back in 2013 as well, the same year that we played Sweden Rock the last time. And those festivals are super cool. Grass Pop the last time was probably at least one of the top 3 shows that we ever played in terms of audience reaction and the atmosphere of the festival and everything. And same thing with Masters of Rock. So that's going to be really exciting.
And now you're coming back, you're even bigger than before. So yeah, it's going to be probably a bigger turnout, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, I was a little bit skeptical when I saw the poster, because I thought that they put us a little bit too high on that festival poster. So now we have to deliver. No, but it's really, really nice. It's they've given us some really, really cool slots. So we're very humble and thankful for that, of course.
Any countries you want to go to? You haven't been there yet, playing wise?
I mean, there's a bunch that are like dream places to play. Like Australia, we haven't played.
You've never been to Australia yet?
Never.
Wow.
No.
Is it something you're working with, or the booking?
Yeah,
company?
I mean, there's been, a few suggestions and a few alternatives and even offers in some cases, but there's so many things that has to work out, in terms of the administrative thing, the economical side, and so on. So, but it's certainly on the table for the upcoming tour, for the next album. It's going to last a few years at least, and it's going to be pretty much the whole world. So, I would be surprised if we don't get to those places actually.
Besides being a musician, the band does all of the booking themselves, right?
Exactly. We try to keep like most things as internal as possible, so we can have control over the situation. So I mean, we have a fantastic record labels actually I should say, that we have great cooperation with, and they understand our ideas and they listen and respect our ideas because we've been having them since the beginning. So instead of having a record label that runs everything, it's more of a cooperation. So we're very hands-on with everything that is related to the band.
It's pretty unique though, a band running himself, booking and everything, because being a musician and all the touring and all the administration stuff, that's impressive, but it kind of works for you guys, so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in the music business for such a long time, and we just had so many opinions when we were in all these different bands before, and I guess instead of being these, expert or these gurus, we sort of just did all these things how we wanted it to be. All those times that we were disappointed that the record label didn't do this or that, this time we just tried to do it like that instead and figured that let's see if this works. And I think it's sort of worked. It's been a bit of a trial and error, but I think that most of the decisions, at least 95% of the decisions that we made in terms of the administrative part and the tours that we've chosen and the festivals that we played has been good decisions. So it's been working out for us, and I think it's a little bit the new way of doing things as in compared to the 90s where you could sign to a record label and they would just take care of everything. So I think that bands need to be a little bit more hands-on these days.
Tour-wise, do you have any really fun memories from the tour, from the road?
Have no memories whatsoever.
What happens in the bus stays in the bus?
Exactly. Oh, I was thinking the other day when we were discussing something fun that happened on the road, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna remember that because this question shows up, a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But going back from the Norwegian tour, we were heading home to Gothenburg from played the last show in Trondheim, and we had Selenos from Dimmu Borgir was riding us, with us on the bus. And we were all, after the final tour, having a few beers, and everybody started to give each other a few tattoos.
Oh.
And I will just say that it was really, really fun to see the reaction when he came home to his wife having his tattoos on his head, because there was a lot of curse words written on his head. So that was a bit fun.
Did you get yourself a tattoo as well?
Yeah, I can't speak anything about that. That's censored.
Cursing words as well.
Yeah,
perhaps.
it's beep. Yeah, there we go.
That's awesome.
Okay, then we thank Olof for the interview, and it was really fun to hear the anecdote about the tattoos in the tour bus back from Norway.
Crazy tattoos.
Yeah, crazy.
More tattoos than me.
I'm a little disappointed that Olof couldn't say anything about his own tattoo, or if there was any tattoo at all.
What happens on tour stays on tour. That's
it's
secret.
like Las Vegas.
Elvis all over.
Okay, now we're just one interview left, and it's of course with the headlining band SABATON.
Which day did the headline? Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday. The last show on the festival stage, the biggest stage of the festival.
With pyros and apparently the crew is 30 plus people.
Yeah.
And they're living 5 miles outside of Sweden Rock. A little bit privacy, of course. It's a big production. They spend a lot of money on pyro, but the local, the biggest paper, daily paper, Aftonbladet, gave it 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And said it was one of the better gigs, which I can agree on.
Yeah, because the concert-wise during the festival was pretty mellow this year, I would say. And so the Sabaton fireworks and everything about that, it should be the best show.
And it was.
Yeah, and it was.
And we saw a couple of shows from the tower. There's actually a tower at the backstage area where you can see the big stage on the side though. Not really the best view, but if you prefer to see it there and having a beer and with your friends.
And see all the people out watching the show. Yeah, and the crowd, yeah.
Especially you get some great pictures out of it.
Yeah, of course. Just talking about the backstage area, was it anything, other particular things that was showing off at the backstage?
2 giant buses, one with Gibson, which actually was a nightliner, a new one. And in the middle there was another bus.
Yeah, was it kind of English bus?
What's the name
type?
if we call like a double-decker English bus? This was painted black, and it was Marshall's own bus, and they had a couple of acoustic gigs outside of the Marshall with amps, of course with Marshall.
I think one of your bands just played the tunes.
Philippa and Georgia did acoustic set, a couple of songs, instrumental, with some of their friends, and Marshall documented everything. I also think that Heavy Tiger was there doing some kind of gig or whatever. I mean, all these bands are officially sponsored by Marshall, so they try to do some cool stuff while some of the members are actually there. We did our interview with Sabaton, the new kids on the block, the new members, 2 of them, at the Marshall bus.
Yeah, it was actually it was Thobbe Englund that was interviewed. The other guy just stayed behind.
Yeah, and said yes, filling in the gaps.
Yeah, so but actually, we didn't hear anything of him because he didn't have any microphone.
No, so Thobbe and we did the interview, and
he was a really geek.
He's a guitar geek, which is fun because he makes his own guitars, not on stage, for his own private purpose.
Yeah, for his solo projects.
He used to be in Rauptir, funny enough, a band that I'm actually working with. Yeah. And after the interview, I actually told them, you know what? I know the full story, how you ended up at Sabaton, because the singer told them that they should take one of the members from Rauptir. And fun enough, I'm working on the label, and he was like surprised. Tobin was like, "Wow, so you're not a media guy? You're a label guy?" I'm both. I'm everything.
I'm everywhere.
I'm everywhere, anywhere. I'm there. Well, the interview was great, and it was fun. Basically interviewing Thobbe and seeing his side of things regarding him being the newer members. Well, it's new member and all, but they've been in the band a couple of years now.
Yeah, it was fun in the beginning. He just did a good description of what about this Sweden Rock show with all the pyro and explosive things.
Yeah, and he told us a little bit about some secrets about Sabaton as well. So you should definitely listen to this interview. It was fun and interesting, to say the least.
Here we have Thobbe Englund. This is the day before the big show here on Sweden Rock.
The day before the big show, yes.
Yeah, and how does it feel?
It feels really good. We are really excited actually to go up on stage tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be the biggest show actually in Sabaton's history.
Oh.
More pyros than ever.
Can you describe it?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's so big that I don't know what's going to happen really.
Oh.
So we're going to talk about that later on tomorrow afternoon. You can't step here, you can't step there, you have to think about moving there at that point, and it's lots of fireworks, pyros, 2 tanks.
You're scared?
Sorry?
You're scared?
Yes.
What happens if you fuck up? You burn up?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck, yeah. Short
James Hetfield times 100.
That has happened, yeah, for sure.
Ouch. It's like the real war then.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
So for this crew, is it like more people this time around because it's the biggest production ever on Sweden Rock? Or is this normal?
We're a big bunch of people actually carrying out all this.
So how many?
Well, I would guess around 30, 40 people all in all, not counting the security personnel and firefighters and all that. So it's we're a big bunch of people.
But what was it? Is the most odd thing on your
rider?
On your rider then? Do you have some?
I would say 2 zebras.
It is?
No, seriously, nothing weird at all.
You guys are kind of humble. You don't want to overdo it.
I mean, the rock star thing, the rock star myth, living that, it's been done. It's been done 30 years ago, and this is in 2016. I mean, I guess you could behave that way if you would be like Axl Rose or somebody. Because he's got so much money and he might do it just because he can. But I think he's a humble guy today as well. So I think that's overdue in a way. Yeah, sex, drugs and rock and roll, that's kind of old news. Today it's more like...
It's like a business.
Like a business, a big business, and you have to take care about where you're going to invest the money in zebras or in the next show or a tour bus in America or something.
So you have a new album coming out, The Last Stand?
Yep.
When's it out?
It's out the 19th of August.
Looking forward to it?
Yes, pretty much, very much actually. I'm so tired, sorry.
And then follow up with a tour, I'm guessing, for full year.
The tour is going to be called The Last Tour.
What does that mean? Are you giving up or...
What do you think?
I don't know, you guys are secrets, so who knows?
Let's keep it that way.
You don't want to say anything? Why the name of the tour?
Well, the album is called The Last Stand, so that would make it pretty natural to call it The Last Tour.
Yeah.
I mean, Status Quo started their farewell tour in 1984, so we're a very competitive band, so if we're going to win that fight as well, we have to start now.
Yeah.
That makes people guess, though. A lot of... thinking around what's the name, what's the tour?
I've read some forums and people are getting worried. Oh, is this the last tour? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If you just talk a little bit about the album, about the process, about the contribution, has everyone contributed to the album?
Me and Joachim wrote one song together on this album. Chris and Joachim wrote one song on this album. And the lyrics is pretty much Joachim and Paris as usual, because they're actually the ones that are really into history. Yeah. I have the interest in it, but I feel it's if they do it, it's gonna be a little bit more into detail. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. I guess that goes with everybody in the band.
Can you tell us a little bit about that song you contribute?
Well, it's about the samurais back in the 1800s. So it's basically, I guess a lot of people have seen this movie with Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai.
Yes.
So you could pretty much base that song upon that story, basically. And that's what it's all about. It's a funny thing, a journalist a couple of weeks ago at a listening session, she came up to me and she was like, dude, how could you make the music to that song so Asian sounding? Well, actually, me and Joachim wrote the music. We wrote like 2 months before we wrote the lyrics, or before he wrote the lyrics for it. So I was like, well, we didn't actually intend them to connect that way because we didn't know this song was going to be about samurais.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
So
I guess it's how you
was the
interpret
opposite. So they chose the lyrics because of the sound
and
of the
then
song.
she chose to interpret the song as Asian sounding, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool how that goes. Like, it's interesting to observe that kind of thing. How the listener is building up the own atmosphere and the world around the song. It's very interesting.
So besides being the hellbender at Sabaton, you also have a huge interest building guitars.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I got my first guitar as, I think I was 10 when I got my first guitar, a Yamaha scallop neck, actually, the first guitar I ever got. And since then I was kind of curious, wow, this guy made this himself. So what else can you do? And I kind of didn't care much about that until I was like a teenager and watched this video with Yngwie Malmsteen, who also had a scalloped neck. And I was like, wow, why is he using this? And then I started to read into pickups and different kind of material, different kind of woods, metal in the bridge block and all that. And this has become more and more of a subject of interest for me. And today I'm like, sometimes I can like spend hours online on different, guitar building sites and forums and all that. And maybe if I try an older body together with that, the bridge with the brass, blah blah blah, and all that. So I have like 5 or 6 guitars that I pretty much build myself, but they all look like Strats and they all sound like Strats, but they are super Strats.
What is the newest thing you discovered to develop?
That I like the aluminium bridge block.
Okay.
In the tremolo, you have a big block that the springs connect to the spring claw on the backside, and I would say I like the aluminium one because you would think that it doesn't give you that kind of vibration and all that. You usually go for the heavier blocks, the steel, or the heavier the better sound. Not in my opinion. You get a more singing kind of tone using aluminium, and that's what I've been into like lately.
Feels that they're like expensive parts. I mean, where do you get the wood?
It's not that expensive. I mean, it depends on what you want to do. If you do most of the things yourself, I mean, that's just time consuming, and yeah.
So you want to sell them in the future, or just use it for recording?
I don't think I could ever sell them. It's too much affection and personal, and yeah, too much love into them. I wouldn't be able to separate myself from my finest guitars, actually.
Well, you do use them for just coming up with ideas, songs, or use it for recordings, or
solo albums in the studio with Sabaton, and
you got side projects as well. So I'm guessing you might use them.
Yeah, of course, I use them all the time. For different solos. Here I want like more of a Gibson tone, then I might use that guitar. Here I want more of a Strati tone, like 50s, then I use that guitar. And so it's like it's not only a hobby, it's a big passion, and I can't see myself selling away. It's like selling your kids, basically.
That won't happen.
No.
But you go to trade shows though and come up with new ideas. Oh, this I could use, or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's always interesting to like learn about new stuff, and we're in this Marshall bus right now, and I just saw that they have this Code 50, and I was like, wow, I've been looking at that for a couple of months, and here they have it, so I need to go check that out in a while. I'm always in motion when it comes to guitars, amplifiers, and all that. The perfect tone, even though I think I've got the perfect tone right now, it's like searching for the perfect wave if you're a surfer. Yeah. You will never find it.
Maybe a collaboration with Gibson or Fender, who knows?
Fender, I would say, yeah. I'm endorsed by Fender. And
signature guitar, perhaps.
Yeah, signature guitar, yeah. That would be cool, actually. Then I could really put together the best guitar ever, in my opinion. I couldn't play another guitar than Fender, basically, Fender Strats. It's something. It's like a enlengthment of my arm or something.
What happens during the summer after Sweden Rock?
After Sweden Rock, we have like 4 hours free.
Okay.
And then we're off to France. So there we go with the summer festival. It starts pretty much now, and we're gonna have a couple of 2 weeks off, I guess, after France. And then it's basically moving the whole summer, traveling, flying. That's the difference between being on a tour, where you always have the tour bus and you can sleep, and it's a pretty stable schedule. You get up in the morning, do your thing, and get up in the evening, do your thing, and then basically travel. So during the festival summer, you fly here and there and fly all the time, and lots of airports, lots of dead time, and
no sleeping.
No sleep. Sleep is overrated.
What do you do on your free time though, during the tour and everything?
Play guitar.
Pretty much?
Yep.
At the airport
of course,
as well?
Yeah. As soon as I get the time, guitar playing.
Would you say that you're the most extreme musician in the band? I mean,
yes, I would say
24/7?
Yeah, I would say so.
You basically just sleep with the guitar?
Yep. Happened a couple of times in my teens, though. Actually, I fell asleep in the bathroom with my guitar on vacation in Florida in '99. And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Man, you're sick. We need to talk."
So when you got the offer joining Sabaton for full time, what was your expression? Was it out of the blue, or obviously it was because you're a great musician and guitar player, but besides just getting a phone call,
I guess things happen because of a reason. So, but when I got the offer, it was like, hell yeah! If you guys want to have me in the band, wow, I'm in. This sounds like fun and nice guys and this goal and it's a sound atmosphere around the band. That's what I first like. I was struck by the feeling around the band is very nice. It's not this, as we were talking about earlier, like the star thing. These are just guys like me that grew up listening to good music, wants to play good music in front of a happy crowd and like just having fun.
Did you ever think how that's going to affect your bands while you were playing in other bands as well?
I'm sorry.
You were playing in other bands before you got the offer. Or did you ever think about how that's going to affect your own stuff?
No, I never thought that way. I was pretty much playing the same kind of music, basically. I used to play bass in the Swedish band Raubtier. I guess that's a little bit different musically, but still melodic and all that. So, and I used to have my own band Winterlong and release some solo albums under my own name.
Different genres as well, both of those bands.
Yeah,
compared
but
to Sabaton.
Pretty much in the melodic eras anyway. So it wasn't that big of a step. And Winterlong, which was my band, it's pretty similar to Sabaton, I guess. Besides the vocals, because Joachim has such a defined voice, it's a bit different from the other power metal singers, if you wish to call it power metal. I think it's just heavy metal. A lot of people prefer to put everything in like
genres.
Yeah.
You still miss the old days playing with Raubtier and...
Well, sometimes I can think back, and it's been a lot of good memories. Yeah, for sure. If I miss it, nah. I don't have time for nostalgia. I'm looking forward all
for
the time.
For the future.
Yeah.
For a new
What's
guitar.
the next thing?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're back to Rock Dudes 28 and the special edition.
The Sweden Rock edition.
The Sweden Rock edition. That's right.
That was all of those 4 interviews, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah.
We're still here though, and we would like to talk a little bit more regarding the festival.
Yeah.
Sweden Rock, because
shall we start with eating and food and things like that?
obviously we weren't just at the backstage area, because we were outside looking at the gigs as well and talking to people. Food-wise, good mix, variety.
Yeah,
Wasn't that expensive though, right? Well, it was like 90 kronor, 100 kronor for some food. I mean,
it's like a lunch in the Stockholm city.
There's a couple of places that they're better than others, of course.
Yeah, especially we haven't mentioned that, but Helicopters did a reunion gig with the original setup.
Yeah, of course.
And
that was packed. There was a lot of people.
Really packed, and it was a really good show.
They actually played the first 2 records, right?
Yeah. And after we watched that, we went to grab some food at the Lemmy stage. But we went to a food truck, actually, and that was, for me, the best food this weekend, or this festival. It was.
I think I wonder if that was the same.
Yeah, you get a burger you were really satisfied with.
Yeah, I had like a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
2 guys.
Yeah.
It didn't look anything out from the festival area. It's kind of shady, but the food was great.
Yeah, and the guy that sold the food, he was really talking to us like we know each other.
Like we were celebrities or rock star or whatever. But that was good food.
Yeah, it was a great meet.
What else is happening during the festival?
I must say I didn't eat any langos this time. It was
I've never
pretty
been
much
a fan of it though.
No, but
it's just cheese and garlic, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a lot of fat.
Yeah.
But
the people were happy, and
how many people were there?
Almost sold out. Full capacity, 33,000 people.
Yeah.
With that said,
We just got the information from some people.
The head guys that people that go to Soilwork.
Yeah, it's
72% turning back. How do you say it?
Yeah,
they come back.
Yeah, returning.
Returning guests are 72%.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And demographic, 30 plus people. Age-wise,
I think the average age is about 38 or 39 years old.
Yeah,
and that's pretty unique for a festival actually here in Sweden, because all other festivals has more or less 20 to 25. A lot of people around that age.
Like Bråvalla, the biggest festival there is, which we are actually going next week.
Yeah, it will be the next.
It
will be the next episode of this podcast. If you just put a grade on this festival from 1 to 5,
I would say 4.
Okay.
I never give 5, by the way, because it's like top notch. I've never been to a festival which is you still remember until this day. So a strong 4, and I'll be back next year for sure.
Yeah, you have to have pretty much a better lineup to get a 5, I think. Yeah. But overall, it's a really great festival, and you always wanted to get back. So I will be one of the 72%. That's for sure.
I'm in the mix as well.
Yeah. Okay, so
that was it. Thank you for listening, guys, and
thank to our sponsor SABATON Open Air. And as we said, we will do a new episode from Bråvalla. It will be Rock Dudes 29, and it will be released in 2-3 weeks.
Rock on!
Rock on!
Rock Dudes!